Hi my friends, it's Carrie. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my 5 cards, 1 kit featuring the Scrapping for Less card kit for October called Joy to the World. And I'm going to start off with card number 1, and I'm going to start off using some of the ephemera pieces that's in the collection number 1. And I thought it would be started out, doing a very quick and simple card using these ephemera pieces. Really no stamping at all other than just the sentiment. I'm going to use the ornament and the bow that comes in my version of the ephemera pieces at least. And then I'm going to also use some of the twine that comes in the kit or in this collection. And I'm going to tie that on the back or adhere that on the back of my ephemera piece here with some micropore tape. This is very thin tape, so that's why I like it. So I'm going to get that into place, cut off the ends there with my scissors, and then I'm going to take another piece of the pattern papers. I'm going to cut that down with a stitched rectangle die. I believe this is the one from MFT. This is one of my favorites from MFT. And I thought I was going to choose this pattern here that's got a little bit of a pine cone, decorative edge there. And this is, like I said, super simple. This is, less than 5 minutes for a card. And sometimes that's what you need if you are, obviously a card maker and wanting to create some holiday cards. This is the best way to do that, especially when these kits are already put together for you like this. This really gets them out the door for you. So I'm going to stamp down using the stamp set in this kit, using the just the sentiment. And it's called, I think it says Season's Greetings. And I'm going to pick out a red ink. Now the red ink that I chose, it's not the one I initially wanted for this. I wanted a little bit more of a wine red, but it works. And so I'm going to use chili pepper ink from Lawn Fawn to stamp down my sentiment here. This is a clean mount stamp, so it is a little bit thicker than your traditional stamps that we normally are used to nowadays, which is our photopolymer stamps, but it stamps sound great. So I'm going to get that into place, and then all the thing I got to do now is just adhere this to my card panel. I've added some foam adhesive to my ornament just to give it a little bit of dimension since this card is so super simple. And I'm going to add some shimmer using my shimmer pen here to the ornament, and we're going to call it done. Like I said, super simple. And if you have these kind of kits like this, this is the ideal way to, like I said, get those cards made really quickly, and you don't have to spend a whole lot of time thinking of a design or anything like that, especially these pieces that look realistic like this, especially the bow. It really makes it a fantastic card to mail to your family or friends. So that's card number 1. We're going to jump into card number 2 now, and I've picked out some of elements for my card here, kind of a design that I wanted to go with. And I picked out, I already die cut a piece of white cardstock. Eventually you will see that this will change a little bit, but until then I'm going to go ahead and prepare how I want to stamp down my ornament. I wanted to kind of create a little bit of a look that this is a photo onto this panel here, and I'm just going to get out my MISTI here because I want this really precise. So I'm going to get all of my elements into my MISTI. I'm going to take out my stamps and get them lined up the way I want them. And these stamps are from Gina K Designs. This is exclusively for the kit. And I love Gina K stamps. I don't own too many of them, but her quality of everything that she has, whether it be cardstock, envelopes, I really do love her envelopes. They're my favorite. Or stamps or anything. They're great quality. I love the glue too. So anything from Gina K is fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp down my bow. I'm going to do that twice because these are new stamps and this is the first time that I am stamping them onto my cardstock. So I'm going to get that into place, kind of eyeball it, make sure everything is lining up the way I want it to. This little piece here is another ephemera piece. This actually had something in the middle of it, but I liked how this was like kind of like a plaid Polaroid frame there. Really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp down my ornament here in that same chili pepper ink. I tried to use So a lot of the elements that I'm using, whether it be colors or inks, I try to stay within, the same things that I've chosen because I didn't want to drag out too many supplies. I'm really trying to focus all of my efforts to create just with the kit itself. Obviously, you have to bring in some elements, but, I am trying to focus on just minimal supplies and just focus on the kit. So off camera, I went ahead and embossed a little bit of a detail using the Trio little stamp there for the ornament. And now I'm going to go ahead and take my detail scissors, cut this out, and fussy cut this piece out so it'll have... I intended to do just a little bit of a border, but then I changed my mind and I just went right up against that edge. So now I'm going to add some Connect glue here to my Polaroid frame here. And it's got a really nice little cute detail at the bottom where you see that little die cut heart. I really like that. So it gives it just a little bit of something extra to the design. I'm going to line this exactly how I want it. And then I thought I would go ahead and add a little bit of extra detail to that ornament. And you'll see here I'm going to get out my Versa marker pen. Instead of just using the Versa Mark ink pad, I'm going to use the Versa marker. And I'm going to just color the top of the ornament here. And I'm just going to dunk that into that same gold embossing powder that I used for the embossing on the ornament. And this will give it that little extra detail of something that I really do needed to make it look finished. So once I get that all embossed, I'm going to adhere this onto this panel here with some foam adhesive because I want to give it a little bit of extra dimension. But you can see there as I am embossing this how really it adds just that extra extra detail that it just finishes it off. So now I'm going to go ahead, like I said, and get this adhered into place. Oh, well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and do my sentiment first. So I'm going to go ahead and also heat emboss my sentiment too as well in gold. And just kind of tie in that gold as much as I possibly can. Give it a little bit of shimmer and shine because, again, this overall, most of my cards I try to keep as simple as I possibly can because I know, most of us, some of us at least don't mass produce the same cards. Some of us like to make different cards for holidays. So I try to keep the design simple, not only for, inspiring you guys, but for myself as well because, it's the holidays, and especially if you've got a lot of people that you're mailing out to, you want a simple design that's not too complicated. And of course, these card kits like this are great to give you just a little starting point as to what to use too. So I've gone ahead and adhere my ornament, as you can see, and this is where I've kind of changed my mind in my design. For some reason, I didn't like that overall panel there. So I just cut out around the cardstock, the white cardstock, and just cut off that scallop edge. And, it also gives that Polaroid frame, ephemera piece, a little bit more stability with that white cardstock. So I've gone ahead and also just cut down a couple of the cardstock and the pattern paper from this collection number 2. And I'm going to go ahead and add that pattern paper that I chose. It's got some ornaments and kind of ties in with the ornament that we are using on our card today. So I'm going to use some more liquid glue to add to the back of this and get that onto my red card base. I believe this is Wild Cherry, I want to say. All of the cardstock pieces are from MFT. I did do an unboxing of a reveal of this whole entire card kit. And as I am doing my voiceover, from what I am understanding, that there is a limited quantity left of these card kits. So if you are remotely interested in any of them, I will have the information below as to where you can go ahead and get your kit as well. So you want to grab it if you can, as soon as you can, if you are remotely interested in it, because they're going to go fast. So now I'm going to do is just add a final little bit of a detail to my heart down here with my shimmer pen, and that will complete card number 2. I really do like how this one turned out, especially since I cut down off that scallop edge, and it just really created a design that I was a little bit more happy with. So card number 3, we're going to jump into the stamp set, And this stamp set is from, design is from Pink and Main, exclusively for this kit, for Scrapping for Less. And I'm going to use this scrap of white cardstock. Before I stamp down my image here, I am going to give it a little bit of color in the background. This is the dye I'm going to be using eventually. It's also from My Favorite Things, I believe. And I'm just going to take some Distress Oxide ink and some glass. I'm going to take an ink blending tool. Actually, this is a makeup brush, but I don't use it for makeup. I'm going to actually use it for ink blending because I think all the rage right now is those life-changing ink blending brushes from Picket Fence Studios. And but I don't have those. I just have this one that was in a makeup subscription box, and it works just as well in my opinion. So I do have a video on that as well. If you're remotely interested, I'll go ahead and link that up in the cards if you want to watch that video of me using this brush. But I just wanted to add a little bit of color to the back of this, onto this piece of white cardstock, just to give a little bit of color to create a little bit of a scene here with my image. And all the images that I stamped down that require color, I will not be showing the color because this video is so super long already. So just to kind of save time, I'm just going to, this is not a coloring tutorial. It's just kind of showing you the ideas of how to put all of these elements together. But I do kind of show you up close how the images come together with the coloring. So now I'm going to take this cover die here from My Favorite Things. I'm going to cut that down from using some of the pattern papers. And then I'm going to take a piece of the craft cardstock that comes in the kit. And also this piece of pattern paper. I'm going to add some glue to the back of the pattern paper and then add this to my card base. And I didn't cut this down because I just think this is, this is easy, to do this, just to place it onto the card and then just cut off the excess. And that way you know exactly that your pattern paper is exactly to size, and it kind of saves time that way too. So, and of course you could use obviously you could use the pieces that are left over for other projects if you, so intend to use them for other projects. So I got a little bit of glue on my surface there. Just want to make sure I get that up before I continue on. So next what I'm going to do is add my frame, but I'm going to add my main piece here to my frame. So I did glue that with my liquid glue, get that into place, and now I'm going to add this whole entire piece to my main card panel here. I just love how this is a traditional, or using non-traditional colors with the pinks, and just got little pops of blue and red and white. This is one of my favorites that I've made during this whole, for this whole entire collection. And I just love how the coloring actually came out. So now I'm going to add a little bit of extra detail with some, looking like some snow on the ground. So I'm going to take some Nuvo drops. I believe that they call this Blizzard, I believe. If I can think about it, I will list the extra supplies that I did use that is not in the kit in the description bar below. But this will look like, it will give that extra detail, and it looks like that they are standing on some snow, which is really, really nice. And of course it gives it some extra sparkle too. So now I'm going to stamp down my sentiment that comes in the same stamp set. It's called Joy to the World, obviously the name of the card kit. And super cute. I love these little singing little critters. And that will complete card number 3. We're going to jump into card number 4. And I'm actually going to cut off this sentiment. The sentiment comes on this Santa image, and I didn't want that sentiment. Not the way it was, lined out anyway. So I went ahead and did some stamp surgery. Went ahead and stamped out the Santa image, and then of course color that off camera like I mentioned before. Now I'm going to do the same thing like I did before with the other card as far as adding the pattern paper to my card base. And I'm just going to line that up and then turn it over and take my scissors and then cut off the excess. And this makes it super simple and super quick. You don't have to get your trimmer out or anything like that. And so I took a piece of scrap cardstock or white cardstock. I have this die here, also from My Favorite Things. It's kind of like a border die, but I kind of created what looks like to be a roof of a home or a house, and I thought it was super cute. It looks like it's, you know, he's covered in snow. So I'm going to add my Santa image to the edge there. And then I'm going to line up my sentiment that did come on the stamp originally. And I'm going to line that up kind of at a diagonal that kind of goes along with that die cut piece that looks like my roof. And I'm going to add some foam adhesive to give this a little bit of extra dimension. So I just kind of line that up onto my card, at the bottom of my card. And I'm going to add some foam adhesive also to my Santa. And I'm going to kind of adjust that because I need to add some liquid glue at the very bottom edge of my Santa piece. So I will be going and kind of removing a little bit of that foam adhesive at the bottom. But once I get this adhere into place, then I'm going to add my sentiment, and I am going to put this into my MISTI because I've worked so hard up to this point. I don't want it to, you know, mess up at all. So I'm going to go ahead and add that liquid glue at the bottom. Going to add this at the very edge of my little roof there. And again, this is another one of my favorites that I created. I just love this little Santa. He's super cute. And I like the way that the sentiment is kind of going along that same edge there. Kind of gives it, you know, it's pleasing to the eye that way instead of just straight on. So I'm going to kind of line that up the way I want it. Put that into my MISTI, close my MISTI door. Then I'm going to add some black ink to my sentiment, and I'm really enjoying this black ink. This black ink is from Gina K also. So I'm going to stamp this down twice because it is stamping, for one, on pattern paper, and two, it is a new stamp like I mentioned before, and so I want to make sure that that sentiment is good and crisp. So for the final embellishment for this card, I'm going to take that same Nuvo Drops, that really sparkly one, and I'm going to go along the little snow part of my Santa image, as well as the edge of my little roof here. Kind of take my tip there and just kind of drag it out a little bit, make it look like it's just piled up snow on the edge of the roof there. Really, really super cute, and just this little detail like this really does make it pop, and it really does make it look a little bit more realistic, and just kind of gives it that extra something to the overall design of the card. So that completes card number 4. I really, really like this one, and this is one of my favorites. I love this teal color and the reds. Super, super cute. So this is card number 5, our final card, and I was going to go in a different direction with this one, but I decided against it. So I'm actually going to take my Distress Oxide ink again in Tumbler Glass, and my camera kind of died, so I'm going to have to kind of talk you through what I did off camera. I didn't realize my camera was off until later on, so I apologize for a lot of this card that you won't see, you know, as it's being put together. But I did stamp the little peppermint stamp that's in the stamp set here all over, and I did color that off camera, like I said. And this little image here from the stamp set. And this piece here comes in the banana split, and I'm also using the Simply White Nuvo Drops, and I just added a little bit of, looks like to be white stitching around this piece here and this little stocking piece, and I think it's super cute. So I'm going to take some tacky glue here from Simon Says Stamp, and I'm going to add that piece onto, since this is a really rough texture, I want to make sure that this is adhering to my cardstock. So my bottle was clogged, and I didn't want to take the time to unclog it, so I'm just taking a edge of a paintbrush here and kind of adding that to, you know, sometimes you just have to improvise and do what you got to do. But I'm just adding that tacky glue all over the back as much as I can. That's not too much, at least, to this pieces here. And then I'm going to add this to my card base here. All of my card bases are Top Faux card bases. That is my favorite way to do my card bases. And just really making sure that that's good and adhered to my cardstock. Then I'm going to take some of this ribbon that also comes in the kit. I believe it's in collection number 2, I believe. and it's the same color, you know, that wine red that I have onto the colors of the peppermints, as well as this leftover die cut heart that was from that Polaroid frame, and I thought I would go ahead and use that as well. Then finally, to finish this one up, I'm going to use my shimmer pen, add it to the peppermints, and that will complete card number 5. So I am going to go ahead and show you all 5 of the cards once more. Again, if you are interested in one of these kits, be sure to get over to scrappingforless.com as soon as you can, because there are only a handful left. So this is card 1 that we did, and then card number 2 with the Polaroid frame, with the little shimmer and shine with the embossing. Then our little singing, caroling critters, and the pink and the pretty shimmer and shine of the snow. Then Mr. Santa on the rooftop. And then, of course, our little stocking piece. So thank you all so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. And I will catch you all in the next video. Bye-bye.